question about working with babies and children. Can you explain where they are in their stages at those ages, say 10 and under, or maybe even teenagers and under, and what you can do to help them or prevent them having bad patterns later in life?
Oh, kids are awesome to work with. I've had people say, oh, you work on little kids? Why would you work on little kids? Why would you work on babies? Like, they don't have any work stress. They don't have any relationship stress. They don't need anything. Well, they take on the patterns of mom. So whatever was going on with mom while the baby was in utero, the baby comes out with that, almost as if they went through the stress and the trauma. And you haven't resolved some of your stuff. Well, maybe they didn't get to work through it either. I mean, that's possible. So we see kids that come in, they're colicky, they cry all the time, as infants, and we make some gentle touches at certain areas of their spine that turn off the stress response, and the tension is lower.
Where were
and
you
the colicky, yeah, let me tell you, it's amazing. It's amazing. And people are like, wow, the kid, you only worked on the kid 2 or 3 times, and the kid is completely different. I'm like, yeah, because they haven't been rehearsing it for 30 or 40 years. They don't have an identity around it. They don't have a story around it. It's just a pattern. You work with it a couple times, done deal. I remember I had this 5-year-old that the mom brought in, and she said, look, my kid's afraid of everything. He is so afraid of everything that he goes into the closet in his room and closes the door, and he doesn't even want to deal with life because that's how fearful she is. The teacher was saying the kid is afraid of everything. He won't do anything. He's just really having a lot of issues because the kid is so fearful and so anxious. And he's 5 years old. And they've done counseling, they've done therapies, they've done different things, and it's helped a little bit, but it's still more the same. She brought the kid in. I said, yeah, man, I think I can help. Bring him in here. So they brought the 5-year-old in, and I worked with him, made some gentle touches in areas that's associated with this state of fear and confrontation, fear and worry, fear and anxiety. And I worked with that pattern the one time. The mom brought him in 2 or 3 days later for a second session, and the teacher said, whatever you did with him, she said the teacher walked out with my child and said, whatever you did with him since last time, do it again. He was completely different today. I've never seen him like that. He was talking to the other kids. He was playing with the other kids. He was engaging instead of going in the corner and covering himself up and hiding. She said, that was amazing. Worked with him twice. I think I worked with him 3 times. Done deal. Once we got him out of that state where he was stuck in a state, right? Your body is your reality filter, and he was stuck in a state of fear and anticipation, fear. Mm-hmm. And kids are so much easier to work with than adults. 3 sessions, done deal. And the kid's been great ever since. Changed his life.
So why would you say that, why do you think that children drop tension more quickly than adults?
I think they haven't, as adults, we tend to feel something, so we make a story about it. I feel dishonored. I feel disrespectful. So I'm going to unload on my boyfriend or my husband. He doesn't appreciate me. He's a jerk. He's this, he's that. He just got off work. He had a great day, and he's looking at you, and he's like, what are you talking about? Like, you know what I mean? So we have we have a theme where we feel something in the moment. So we think because we feel it now, especially women, right, because they're so emotional, that situation that's going on now is relevant. No, the situation has nothing to do with what you feel. You feel the way you feel because that's how you feel. It was probably something that wasn't resolved from the past, and you bring into the moment. Remember, the masculine is a master of time and space. Women, the more they're in their feminine, time doesn't exist. Whatever they experience and feel now, it's because of now. Even though as the masculine, I can tell you that's not the case.
And it's constantly changing.
And it's constantly changing. There's that as well. So, to answer your question, Jen, getting worked on, right, with the network care, doing the consciousness exercises, as a man has helped me to take myself out of the equation and to show up for the woman in my life. Mm-hmm. Despite whatever emotion she has, despite whoever she's blaming it on. Because the stage 2 consciousness exercise, the more I worked on that, which is actually a big challenge for me, but the more I've worked on that, now my internal state is not affected by external circumstances. So when my wife is upset about something and is a bit emotional about it, I don't have that affect me one bit.
You don't have to create a storyline around it.
There's no story, there's no drama on my end, it's just an opportunity to show up. Mm-hmm. And which allows her to feel safe to continue to express and know that I'm there and I've got the container. I can create the space so that she could heal her wound.
So the adults just make it way more complicated than the children that do.
Yeah, and the more we're disassociated, the more we're disconnected. Even if you think you're not disconnected, I promise you there's parts of your body that are.
Right.
And by doing the conscious exercises can increase your playership and how well you show up to be there for someone else and not make it about you. And there's actually a physical pattern that I work on that's associated with that. So we take less and less personal and more have the perspective that angry people say angry things, hurt people say hurtful things, fearful people say fearful things, raging people say, so in other words, we understand that the person that's saying it has more to do with them and less to do with us. But to have that perspective is amazingly powerful in relationship. I mean, it's just, it's liberating, it's freeing. And that's what the stage 2 consciousness exercise is. So if you have the opportunity to go to Corey's site and look up the consciousness exercises and you want more of what I just described, do that stage 2 consciousness exercises. And it is amazingly powerful as a man that the woman can say whatever she says. And it's not that I don't care, because I do care, but it doesn't affect me. There's no concern.
You're not taking it personally?
Zero. Which is
not about you.
Which is totally different than what I used to take everything personally. I used to get emotionally charged about everything. Everything was an opportunity for me to feel unappreciated, disrespected. The conscious exercises for me have been liberating.
Yeah.
And allow me to not only show up and respecting myself more, but also has given me the power to show up for my spouse more, which has made our relationship amazingly different. Because now she trusts me. I can be there for her.
Yeah.
So back to the kids.
Yeah.
The kids are easy. They don't have so much story. You work on them a few times and it's amazing to watch the kids transform. And the younger they are, the less work they need.
So how soon do you start working on a child?
So my son Nicholas was born and he had difficulty latching on. We had a lactation consultant come to the house the same day because, oh my God, he's not eating. He's going to dehydrate. He's going to be beef jerky by tomorrow. He'll be dead. All these fears go through your head as a parent. So we had a lactation consultant come in. The lactation consultant said, a lot of times when kids can't latch on, it's because their neck is really tight on one side or their jaw, all that stuff is tight, and it affects their ability to move it properly and latch on properly. And she started explaining these different methods. I was like, wait a minute, I do a method that's actually really effective at releasing the tension out of that area with network hair. So I made some touches on the top of his neck to release the tension. His jaw completely relaxed. And within 2 minutes of me working on him, he went from not being able to latch on and breastfeed to it was like Hoover vacuum. I kid you not. He just sucked right onto that thing like he was going to.
Awesome.
Oh, yeah. No problems ever since. So when is it? At what age? Right out of the oven, literally. I think at that point he was maybe
a few days, a day.
An hour old, an hour and a half old.
Yeah, because they go right on the breast after that.
And fresh out of the oven.
That's amazing.
So at any age,
I wish I would have had you. I had 2 colicky kids, bad latch-ons, all that business.
And it's frustrating as a parent because, you want the kid to breastfeed and women really take it personally if the child can't latch on. Like there's something wrong with me, there's something wrong with my nipples, there's this, there's that. When the reality is a little bit of work on the kid and there's other methodologies as well that can help the child if he can't latch on. So check those out, whether it's cranial sacral, maybe PT, chiropractic care is really effective. Find a chiropractor there's literally chiropractors that only work on pregnant women, babies, and toddlers. So they know how to work with those kids in an amazing way. So if you do have that experience, you have a colicky baby or the kid has difficulty latching on, if there isn't a network practitioner like what I do available, ask around, call different chiropractors and say, hey, does this chiropractor have a lot of experience working with babies and this and that? And like I said, there are practitioners who specialize and have special training as chiropractors to work on that and do amazing with the kids. Like you'll be shocked how gentle it is, how effective it is and beneficial.
That's so cool. Are you going to do that with your baby?
I did it with the first 2. When the third one comes out, I'll definitely give it a quick feel and see if there's any areas of tension that I can make touches and drop the tension for selfish reasons. because I want the baby to be happy and I want mama to be happy. So
That's so cool, because when the baby comes out, it already has a story that you can read in his spine.
yeah, well, it has the same patterns as mom. So the baby comes out literally with the same tension patterns as we do, because it's nature's Head Start program, right?
But that makes sense if you think about lions in the Serengeti. Those cubs are going to be born ready, because they're being born into a dangerous environment.
And that might be appropriate, right?
That makes sense.
That's a great survival strategy.
Right.
But
we as humans don't need to.
We don't need that.
pass
But
that on.
unfortunately, if mom is stressed and tense while the baby's in utero, then during the birth process, if that was rehearsed, it's gonna show. And mom's like, hey, I got to work, I got to do this, I got to do that. There's no way around it. I get it. Well, then do an intervention that is really, really good for the baby and even good for mom, since you're going to be there anyway, and get worked on, and create so much more peace and ease in your body, especially at a baby when its brain centers are developing, its spine is developing, its body's developing, to grow up with more safety and more peace. That is such an amazing investment that will yield great returns in that child's life.